Guruji. Anantam Shukrana Guruji for this beautiful, blissful, divine satsang. Last week we read chapter 11 and 12 of Rudra Samhita part 4. In this we read that after Kumar or Kartikeya slayed Taraka, there were joyous, victorious celebrations all around, and Shiva and Parvati went back to their abode. After that, Kartikeya or Kumara was approached by Kronika, a mountain named Kronika, and this mountain had sought refuge in Kartikeya or Kumara because he was being harassed by a demon named Bana. Now this, because Kronika eulogized Kartikeya greatly, he was delighted, and then he took his spear and remembered Lord Shiva. He hurled the spear at Bana, and the spear reduced Bana and his entire army to ashes, and after that the spear returned back to Kumara or Kartikeya. Now of course Kronika was extremely delighted and eulogized, and Kartikeya told him to return to his abode fearlessly. After that, Kartikeya installed 3 phallic emblems of Lord Shiva and are followed by the phallic image called Skandeshwara. Soon Vishnu and other gods also installed the phallic emblems of Lord Shiva, and they all worshipped it duly, and after that they went to the chief of the mountains, keeping Lord Brahaspati ahead of them. When Kartikeya had slain Taraka, then all the gods, including Vishnu, they eulogized him greatly, so Kartikeya was delighted, so he granted fresh boons to them, and there were mountains also there who eulogized Kartikeya, and then Kartikeya granted them a boon that they would be worshipped, they would be worthy of worship by the sages, and they would assume the form of phallic emblems, that is the sign or the purest form of Lord Shiva, and that Himavat would be the bestower of fruits for the aesthetics. Now after that, the Kartikeya and the rest of the gods, including Vishnu, they returned to Kailasha, and there Shiva and Parvati rejoiced to see their son. Shiva kissed his son and placed him on his lap, and Vishnu and other gods bowed down in front of them and eulogized Shiva greatly. Shiva was extremely delighted because of that, and when he was delighted, he told them that he is going to grant them this protection from any harm that comes to them, and told them to worship him in the face of any misery. There was also one more incident that I probably missed out. There was one more I'm sorry. There was one more demon, Pralamba, who was actually harassing Kumuda, who was the son of the serpents, and he approached Kartikeya. So Kartikeya also slayed Pralamba, and that was just the minor story we missed in the middle, and the rest is that Kartikeya, of course, stayed there with his parents, and all the other gods went back to their abode, and Shiva stayed there happily with his Ganas, Parvati, and Kartikeya. Today we will be reading chapter 13, which is the birth of Ganesha, and chapter 14, which is the Ganas argue and wrangle. Today we will only be reading in English, that is Manish uncle will be reading these chapters. We will not be having Hindi reading. If you're also interested in participating in the readings, you can contact Seema auntie or Rashmi auntie or me. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji, thank you for this seva. Chapter 13, the birth of Ganesha. Suta said, on hearing the marvelously excellent story of the slayer of Taraka, thus Narada was highly delighted and lovingly asked Brahma. Narada said, O Lord of gods and people, O storehouse of Shiva's cult, the excellent story of Kartikeya, far better than nectar, has been heard by me. Now I wish to hear the excellent story of Ganesha, the details of his divine nativity, auspicious of the auspicious. Suta said, on hearing the words of Narada, the great sage, Brahma became delighted and replied to him, remembering Shiva. Brahma said, Due to the difference of kalpas, the story of the birth of Ganesha is told in different ways. According to one account, he is born of the great Lord. His head locked by Sunny was cut off and an elephant's head was put on him. Now we narrate the story of the birth of Ganesha in Swetakalpa when his head was cut off by the merciful Shiva. No suspicion need to be entertained, O sage. Shiva is certainly the cause of enjoyment and protection. He is the Lord of all. Shiva is possessed as well as devoid of attributes. It is by his divine sport that the entire universe is created, sustained, and annihilated. O excellent sage, listen to what is relevant to the context with attention. A long time had elapsed after the marriage of Shiva and his return to Kailasa that Ganesha was born. Once the friends Jaya and Vijaya conferred with Parvati and discussed. All the Ganas of Rudra carried out the orders of Shiva. They all, Nandin, Bringin, and others, are in a way our own. Pramathas are numerous, but none of them can be called our own. They all stand at the portals, subservient to Shiva's behests. They all may be called our own, but our mind is not in unison with them. Hence, O sinless lady, one, our must be created. Brahma said, Goddess Parvati, to whom this charming suggestion was made by the two friends, considered it wholesome and resolved to carry it out. Once when Parvati was taking her bath, Shivsada rebuked Nandin and came into the inner apartment. The mother of the universe, seeing the untimely arrival of Shiva in the midst of a bath and toilet, stood up. The beautiful lady was very shy then. The goddess decided that her friend's suggestion would be conducive to her good and was so enthusiastic. At the time when the incident occurred, Parvati, the great Maya, the great goddess, thought as follows: there must be a servant of my own who will be expert in his duties. He must not stray from my behest even a speck. Thinking thus, the goddess created a person with all the characteristics out of dirt from her body. He was spotless and handsome in every part of the body. He was huge in size and had all brilliant strength and valor. She gave him various clothes and ornaments. She blessed him with benediction and said, "You are my son, you are my own. I have none else to call my own." Thus addressed the person, bowed to her and said, Ganesha said, "What is your order? I shall accomplish what you command." Thus addressed, Parvati replied to her son. Parvati said, "O dear, listen to my words. Work as my gatekeeper from today. You're my son, you're my own. It is not otherwise. There is none else who belongs to me. O good son, without my permission, no one but by any means shall intrude my apartment. I tell you the fact." Brahma said, "O sage," saying this, she gave him a hard stick. On seeing his handsome features, she was delighted. Out of love and misery, she embraced and kissed him. She placed him armed with a staff at her entrance as the gatekeeper. Then the son of the goddess of great heroic power stayed at the doorway armed with a staff with a desire to do what was good for her. Thus placing her son at the doorway, Parvati began to take bath with her friends unworried. O excellent sage, at this very moment Shiva, who is eagerly indulgent and an expert in various divine sports, came near the door. Not knowing that he was Lord Shiva, the consort of Parvati, Ganesha said, "O sir, without my mother's permission you shall not go in now. My mother has entered the bath. Where are you going now? Go away." Saying thus, he took his staff to ward him off. On seeing him, Shiva said, "O foolish fellow, whom are you forbidding? O wicked knave, don't you know me? I am Shiva, none else." Thereupon Ganesha beat Shiva with the staff. Shiva, expert in various sports, became infuriated and spoke to his son thus. Shiva said, "You are a fool. You do not know that I am Shiva, the husband of Parvati. O boy, I go in my own house. Why do you forbid me?" Brahma said, when Lord Shiva tried to enter the house, Ganesha became infuriated, O Brahmin, and struck him with his staff once again. Then Shiva too became furious. He commanded his own Ganas, "Who is this fellow here? What is he doing? O Ganas, inquire. After saying this, the furious Shiva stood outside the house. The Lord, following the worldly conventions, is capable of various wonderful sports. Chapter 14. The Ganas argue and wrangle. Brahma said, the infuriated Ganas of Shiva at his bidding went there and questioned the son of Parvati who stood at the gate. Shiva's Ganas said, who are you? Whence do you come? What do you propose to do? If you have a desire to remain alive, go away from here. Brahma said, on hearing their words, the son of Parvati, who was armed with the staff, spoke to the Ganas as follows. Ganesha said, O handsome fellows, who are you? Whence have you come? Go away. Why have you come here, and why do you stand in opposition to me? Brahma said, on hearing his words, Shiva's Ganas of great heroism and arrogance laughingly spoke to one another. After conferring with each other, the infuriated Parsadas of Shiva replied to Ganesha, the doorkeeper. Shiva's Ganas said, listen, we are the excellent Ganas of Shiva. We are his doorkeepers. We have come here to throw you out at the bidding of Lord Shiva. Considering you too as one of the Ganas, we are not going to kill you. Otherwise you would have been killed. Better stay away yourself. Why do you court death? Brahma said, though warned thus, Ganesha the son of Parvati stood fearless. He did not leave his post at the door. He rebuked Shiva's Ganas. After hearing his words, the Ganas of Shiva went back and informed Shiva about his stand. O sage, on hearing their words, Lord Shiva of wonderful divine sports, following the worldly conventions, rebuked his Ganas. Lord Shiva said, who is this fellow? What does he say? He is standing there haughtily as though he is our enemy. What will that wicked knave do? Certainly he wants to die. Why? Are you dastardly eunuchs to stand there helplessly and complain to me about him? Let this new doorkeeper be thrown out. Brahma said, thus commanded by Lord Shiva of wonderful sports, the Ganas returned to the place and spoke to the doorkeeper. Shiva's Gana said, O gatekeeper, who are you standing here? Why have you been stationed here? Why don't you care for us? How can you thus remain alive? We are here, the duly appointed doorkeepers. What are you saying? A jackal sitting on lion's seat wishes for happiness. O fool, you will roar only as long as you do not feel the brunt of our attack. Ere long, you will fall by feeling the same. Thus taunted by them, Ganesha became furious and took the staff with his hands and struck the Ganas even as they continued to speak harsh words. Then the fearless Ganesha, son of Parvati, rebuked the heroic Ganas of Shiva and spoke as follows. The son of Parvati said, get away, or I shall give you a foretaste of my fierce valor. You will be laughing stock of all. On hearing these words of Ganesha, the Ganas of Shiva spoke to one another. Shiva's Gana said, what shall be done? Where shall we go? Why shall we not act? Bounds of decency are observed by us. He would not have acted thus otherwise. Brahma said, then the Ganas of Shiva went to Shiva, who was standing at the distance of Karosa from Kailasha, and spoke to him. Shiva ridiculed them all. The trident-armed great lord of fierce temperament spoke to his Ganas, who professed to be heroes. Shiva said, hello Ganas, impotent wretches, you profess to be heroic, but are never so. You are unfit to stand before me and speak. If he is only taunted, he will speak in similar tone again. Go and beat him. Someone among you may be competent to do so. Why should I speak more? He must be driven away. Brahma said, O great sage, when rebuked thus by Lord Shiva, the excellent Ganas went back and spoke to him. Shiva's Gana said, hello, you boy there, listen. Why do you speak so arrogantly? You go away from here, if not, your death is certain. Brahma said, on hearing the words of Shiva's servant, the son of Parvati became unhappy and thought, what shall I do? In the meantime, the goddess heard the noise of this wrangle between the Ganas and the doorkeeper, then looked at her friends and spoke, go and see. The friend came to the door and saw them for a moment. She understood the whole matter. She was delighted and returned to Parvati. O sage, coming back, she reported the matter to Parvati as it had occurred. The friend said, O great goddess, the heroic Ganas of Shiva are taunting and rebuking our own Gana, who is standing at the door. How do these Ganas and Shiva enter your apartment suddenly without looking to your convenience? This is not good for you. Even after undergoing the misery of rebuke, etc., he or Gana has done well in not allowing anyone in. What is more, they are arguing too. When the argument has started, they cannot come in happily. Now that they have started the argument, let them conquer him and enter victoriously, not otherwise, my dear friend. When this man belonging to us is taunted, it amounts to our being taunted. Hence, O gentle lady, you shall not abandon our prestige of high order. Shiva always squeezes you like a crab, O Sati. What will he do now? His pride will take a favorable turn for us. Brahma said, alas, being subservient to Shiva's wish, Parvati stood there for a moment. Then taking up a haughty mood, she spoke to herself. Parvati said, alas, he did not wait for a moment. Why should he force his way in? What shall be done now, or shall I adopt a humble attitude? What is to happen happens. What is done cannot be altered. After saying that, Parvati sent her again lovingly. The friend came to the door and told Ganesha what Parvati had said with affection. The friend said, O gentle sir, well done. Let them not enter forcefully. What are these Ganas before you? Can they win a person like you? Whether good or bad, let your duty be done. If you're conquered, there will be no further enmity at all. Brahma said on hearing the words of the friend, and his mother Ganeshwara became highly delighted, strengthened and lifted up. Girding his loins, tying his turban firmly and clapping his calves and thighs, he spoke fearlessly to all the Ganas. Ganesha said, I am the son of Parvati, you are the Ganas of Shiva. Both of us are thus equal. Let your duty be done now. You are all doorkeepers. How is it that I am not? You are standing here and I am standing here. This is certain. When it is certain that you are standing here, you must carry out the directions of Shiva. O heroes, now I have to carry out the orders of Parvati faithfully. I've decided what is proper. Hence, O Ganas of Shiva, you shall listen with attention. You shall not enter the apartment, either forcefully or humbly. Brahma said the Ganas, when decisively told by Ganesha, became ashamed. They went to Shiva. After bowing to him, they stood in front of him. Then they acquainted him with the news of the wonderful nature. They joined their palms, stooped their shoulders, eulogized Shiva and stood in front of him. On hearing the detailed news mentioned by his Ganas, Shiva replied following the worldly conventions. Shiva said, O Ganas, hear you all. A battle may not be the proper course. You are my own. He is Parvati's Gana. But if we are going to be humble, there is likely to be a rumor Shiva is subservient to his wife. O Ganas, this is certainly derogatory to me. The policy of meeting an action with an action tit for tat is a weighty one. That single-handed Gana is a mere boy. What valor can be expected of him? O Ganas, you're all experts in warfare and reputed to be so in the world. You are my own men. How can you forsake war and demean yourselves? How can a woman be obdurate, especially with her husband? Parvati will certainly derive the fruit of what she has done. Hence, my heroic men, listen to my words with attention. This war has to be fought by all means. Let what is in store happen. Brahma said, O excellent sage, O Brahmin, after saying thus, Shiva, an adept in various divine sports, became silent, observing the ways of the world. End of chapter 14. This concludes tonight's reading. Thank you, Guruji, Shukrana Guruji, for this opportunity. Jai Guruji.